Hello and welcome back to the Flat Chat. Today we're doing another football fan face-off. We've got Arsenal versus Everton, Callum versus Jacob, and I'm your host, Heggie. So, we'll just get straight into it. Question number one. Both teams have a contender for England's number one goalkeeper, but who is better, Ramsdale or Pickford? I'll let you kick off.
I'd rather Jacob did.
Well, I think that at the moment Pickford is better. That's why he gets played as number one, and I think he showed it now for the last year or two. However, controversially, I think Ramsdale's ceiling could maybe be higher. He's obviously a lot younger. He's proved that he's great, but definitely at the moment Pickford's the superior keeper in near enough all aspects.
Me? No, I'd probably do agree with most of the things you've said there. I think for Ramsdale, I think where this all really came into a debate is when last season Ramsdale for the first 6-7 months was excellent. It was the last couple of months of the season where he started to get a little bit suspect. Obviously, we did drop out the Champions League places as well.
Yeah.
Pickford's been known for having a mistake in him, but in the last, I'd say, 18 months, he's kind of stopped that.
I think in almost 2 years he's made about 2 mistakes.
Yeah, so
which for a goalie at the top level, that's ridiculous. He's finally.
Yeah, he's making less mistakes these days. He's saving Everton points for sure. Even at the weekend there, was excellent.
He's unbelievable.
He is a very good goalkeeper. I think you're probably right. I think Ramsdale does have a higher ceiling, but that is because he's younger.
He's so young.
That's the way it works. I think Ramsdale's focus as well. Again, he's a young keeper. I think he'll get better with that. And
I think it says maybe a bit about England that I don't think either are unbelievable. I don't think either are elite, and I don't think either will ever maybe be elite. So
probably not. No.
Hopefully that's what stops England from.
Well, potentially. But I think also with England as well, I think Ramsdale's going to really struggle to get in that number one spot anyway because of how Southgate is. Yeah. It's also because Southgate has his favourites. He knows the ones he relies on. And that can work for international teams.
How good he's done with England. Maybe they've not played the best football, but in terms of being solid defensively.
Yeah. The Colombia save is the one that comes to mind, isn't it?
The fact they concede a minute later from that is just... I think they actually conceded from that corner.
Unfortunately, I cannot really argue that Ramsdale is better, but there has been moments where people have said it, and I did understand why Ramsdale was put ahead of Pickford in people's eyes. But yeah.
Fair enough. A pretty unanimous decision there from the two boys. So... let's go into something other than players. Mm-hmm. Both clubs have very contrasting stadiums, with Arsenal's been a new super stadium built in the last 20 years. Everton's been built over 120 years ago. But what is better, the Emirates or Goodison Park?
It depends what you're looking for, and it also depends when you ask this question. If you're asking this question, who've got the better stadium now, like you say, Arsenal's is a lot newer, probably a lot nicer to look at. But a lot of people like that old-fashioned stadium, the chairs, the seats in it, everything about it. But I've not been to the Emirates, but Goodison Park, you've got unbelievable atmosphere, but there's a lot of shit seats. There's a lot of seats where your restricted view is really, really poor.
No, I think, the Emirates is probably one of the nicest stadiums in the Premier League, if we're honest. We've obviously been padded seats, it's like it's a really nice
very
stadium.
London, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very London. you pay the prices for those seats as well. See, that probably does come into it a wee bit.
Oh, yeah,
but no, it is a class stadium. Unfortunately, the scum up the road Spurs, I've had to try and beat us at that one. Like, they got a lovely stadium as well. But no, it's a class stadium, the Emirates, and the atmosphere, I'm going to be honest here, is getting much better.
I was going to say,
that's one thing that I think Everton have got that over most teams in the league.
I think if you'd asked a few years ago, I would have just laughed it off and it would have even been close. But seeing at Arsenal, they now seem to have got like a supporters group similar to what there is in Scotland now. And it's starting to seem a bit better.
They've got the ultras behind the goal.
It's not even just that, that's true, but it's not even just that. It's more just Arsenal fans are behind this team a wee bit more now.
Yeah. It's a team of young, nice guys that people like.
Yeah, that's what you want, though, isn't it? And Everton just got a great following. It's a smaller city. So
Definitely.
So
I think it's what you want. I think Emirates is a nicer
Yeah,
stadium.
the actual stadium, you'd be silly to say that the Emirates isn't nicer. It'd be interesting to see in a couple of years
But what do you prefer? Do you prefer the nicer stadium or the better atmosphere?
Oh, you definitely prefer the better atmosphere as a fan.
You probably prefer the better atmosphere as a fan, but an away fan, for example, would rather go to the Emirates. So I mean,
Depends how much money they've got.
that's also true as well. But yeah, no, I think like
Plus, an away fan might have a more enjoyable time at Goodison because they might get more points.
I'm just going to say it as an overall thing, taking everything into consideration. I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm going to say Emirates.
Fair enough. So, on to question 3. Both clubs have had contrasting styles when it comes to managers in the Premier League era, with Everton having over double Arsenal's managers. But who has been the best manager to manage either club throughout the Premier League era?
Right. So this one here, if you're looking at it from Arsenal's point of view, it's obviously Wenger, and so he's at Arsenal. That's where he did all his best work. For Everton, they've got a manager which is potentially better than Wenger, but he wasn't at his best when he was at Everton. So it depends how you look at this question, I guess.
It depends. I think the best way to look at it is how they did maybe for Arsenal and how they did for Everton.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about Carlo Ancelotti and he was only at Everton for, what was it, a year and a half? I think him and Arteta came in at the same sort of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the same.
Yeah, no, it was the same week.
day, almost
We nearly got Ancelotti.
Yeah, because I think Everton played Arsenal and both managers were maybe in the dugout in the most boring 0-0 of all time.
Oh, I remember that. That was stinking. Freddie Lundberg was
was your coach.
Was our coach, yeah.
Who's
Yours was
a dunk.
Yeah,
Lundberg shining on the sideline.
I think it's quite obvious that is Wenger for his time at Arsenal better than Ancelotti for his time as Everton.
Oh yeah, definitely.
To change the question, I'm assuming you'd like us to answer who's a better manager
for their club.
Everything.
However you interpret the question.
For their career. What would you say, AJ?
I mean, for their career, it is definitely Carlo Ancelotti. But what they've done at Everton, obviously I'm only 24 even, kind of your own age. And so, for me, the best manager we've had was David Moyes. He was there for 8-9 years, whatever it was, and had no money. And if only he stayed a bit longer when suddenly we got money, I genuinely think that we wouldn't have fucked it the way we did if he'd stayed a couple of years.
It was always. I remember it was a big four back then.
Yeah.
It was not this big six man malarkey.
Top four.
City get money and Spurs then decided they were good as well.
Yeah.
But it was a big four, and then it was Villa and Everton.
Yeah.
And I remember that was for quite a wee while. That was they were up there. No, Moyes was a great manager for you.
Generally, I remember his last season there. They were just joking on like Match Today and stuff. All he needs is a striker. He leaves the very next year. We get Lukaku, and I think a player like Lukaku was all Moyes was missing.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here as well. We've said the best manager.
Yeah.
But who's the best player to have played for either club?
Was probably the best player that's played in the Premier League, which is Thierry Henry. Is it not? I mean, it probably is, isn't it?
I mean, I'd maybe put Wayne Rooney in that argument.
That's an argument. It's an argument.
I shacked it. Even got with him.
No. I mean, it's obvious. Henry has a better Premier League player than Rooney was, but Rooney's very, very close to it. That's a good shout.
Rooney's stats are unbelievable in terms of the amount of games, the amount of goals, the amount of assists. But as an actual footballer, you'd be silly to not say Thierry Henry. Yeah. But I feel most teams are losing out in this competition in terms of their play against Henry.
Cool. It is Henry. I mean, he's incredible. Yeah. Is there anyone else you think you'd have to say? For Eto'o, for example, for his career?
I mean, yeah. But I'd pick Wayne Rooney above
Eto'o.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, James Rodriguez on his day.
On his day.
Phenomenal.
Very, very good.
Probably Gareth Barry, no?
How have you even said that?
No. Wayne Rooney was our best. He only played a couple of years.
And we agree it's probably Henry.
Oh, it is Henry. I mean, a few Arsenal fans, they say their best player, but even from that time period, obviously, again, I'm only 24.
Yep.
I didn't actually enjoy the Invincibles like others did. I was far too young. I'm Scottish, so I wasn't even an Arsenal fan until I was,
Until they started winning.
About 10. No, until we started losing, I became an Arsenal fan. But they say things like Henry, obviously, Vieira, and Bergkamp's another one that you tend to hear quite a lot. Those three, it could have been any one of those, but Rooney obviously is a...
Yeah.
What I liked as well, that Rooney came back and I got to see him when I was a proper fan watching every game, and he wasn't quite the same. But that season he was still, I think he was our second top scorer, and we got rid of him, I think, still too early.
Do you think
had a lot to give?
Do you think Rooney? I hear a lot of people saying that Rooney didn't fulfil his potential, but to get all the accolades he's got, and
I think
top goal scorer for England and United.
I think people saw him being Ronaldo, and I don't think people realised just how good Messi and Ronaldo were.
I think that's the correct
And
answer.
was Rooney ever third best in the world? I don't know. People think he probably should have been, and I don't know if he ever did get to that.
He got compared to Messi a lot when he was really young,
Yeah.
because they broke through around the same time.
Yep.
But Messi is a freak.
It's also the fact that he started so young, played so many games, but then stopped playing like a good few years ago. And you think Rooney must be like 40, 41, and he's still...
He's 36.
Yeah.
We looked this up the other day. He's 36. How mental is that?
I know.
But yeah.
So, question 5 now. Both clubs have rivals who have done pretty well in the Premier League era. Maybe Everton more so with Liverpool compared to Arsenal with Tottenham.
Yeah, because they've won a lot of trophies, Spurs.
Yeah.
To be honest, in the Premier League era, there's one league title between both Everton and Arsenal's rivals.
That's true. But who is involved in the better rivalry? Arsenal in the North London derby or Everton in the Merseyside derby?
Well, I'd start with it by saying I think it's the best two derbies in the league.
Ooh.
In terms of the actual match,
I
For
think
me, I think that's the two favourite. That's my two favourite derbies to watch. Firstly, because
you are an Everton fan,
Yeah.
I understand that. Obviously, that is biased. I think for me, the best two are Arsenal Spurs.
Yeah.
I don't think that Everton Liverpool gets in the top two for me. I think the second one is Man United Liverpool. I think that's one might be bigger than the North London derby, if anything.
Yeah.
For me personally, this is not really a massive derby, but a game that you like to watch, Chelsea Spurs, is a surprising one because of how dirty that game is. It doesn't.
As an Everton fan,
It doesn't really have the rich history in there.
No,
They're not
it's the
the
most-
actual neighbours.
a lot of it
but-
seems to have came just from that battle of the bridge.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's a face one, but I still would put Everton Liverpool over that actually, if I'm
Yeah,
honest.
definitely.
But I personally think Arsenal North London derby.
I
is
mean, a
better.
derby to me has obviously great games, great goals, but there's like tackles flying in and all that, and it's the game with the most yellow and red cards in the league. Is the Everton Liverpool derby, which kind of shows people trying to call it the friendly derby. It's the game with the most cards, so clearly it's not that friendly, is it?
It's got but with this one though, it's Liverpool are quite clearly better than Everton. They
Yes.
have been for quite a long time. So it's a team that are trying to compete with their rivals that are obviously under the cosh for most of the game. Yeah, I think you're going to get more cards there because that's their way of stopping them. To stop them by getting more cards. I think that personally does come into it. Do you not agree? That's probably something that maybe comes into it.
It's maybe something comes into it. Just there on the weekend, we obviously played Liverpool.
You were very good.
And we matched them for most of it. Yes,
Very
Pickford was brilliant, but
I mean, just as a general rule of thumb with the Liverpool
Yeah.
Everton games, because of how good Liverpool have been over the last 5 years as well,
Yeah.
and you've not been particularly great over the last 5
beat
years.
them at Anfield 2 years ago.
There you go.
That was when there was no fans, wasn't it?
But no, I just think for me, it's the North London derby it's quite nasty as well. Obviously, we don't live in London, so we don't get to see what it's like down there. But it's quite. It can be
We're
quite
talking about a
violent
derby,
as well.
but neither of us have been to see what it's really like.
That's true. I think if we're honest here, it's not the best. Neither of them are the best in the UK. We all
No.
know that's the.
It doesn't even compare to Scotland. I don't think.
Celtic Rangers is obviously the biggest one, but I think for me, the North London derby goes over the Merseyside derby. It's also its two top six sides. I hate to say it, but Spurs are somehow the top six side, and Everton are.
I feel until
top
Spurs,
16
I feel
side.
until Spurs win a league, they're just
Yeah,
there because they've got money.
They've got money, but
Actually,
yeah.
they need to do something.
They've done. I'm going to be honest. Spurs have been run pretty well over the last 8-9 years, and that's why they put themselves in that
Oh yeah,
position.
but Leicester have done more than them.
Yeah, they've got to win something. They don't. Yeah, like we'll see.
Yeah. Pretty good answers there from you two. So, on to the final one. What will the score be between Arsenal and Everton, and how will the game go?
Ooh, want me to start?
Yeah, you're the home team, so let
Home
you,
team. I
you
think
start.
Arsenal looked very good. They actually looked the better side at the weekend against Man United,
But lost.
but lost. Difference is here we're the home side.
Mhm.
If this was at Goodison, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be pretty worried. I would be worried. You've got this knack for beating us there. You know how to play. You know how to get under our skin. As I said with the Liverpool game, you just tackle us. You just get those yellow cards in, and it's tactical. I'm telling you, it's a way of playing football. It's not, and you gotta love it if you're an Everton fan when you're at Goodison and you're beating these teams.
Mentally,
because
you've got
it's
your
impressive.
manager's an ex-Everton player, and he still get caught out by tactics that Everton really haven't changed in terms of getting up for it, especially under the lights.
Yeah.
First tackle, and that's it. The crowd are up for it. But
Yeah. But I reckon this game, I do think you might get a goal. I know you've been struggling for goals, I do think this will be a 2 or 3-1 Arsenal. I'm going to say 3-1 just to be confident, but
I like that.
2-1s.
To be confident.
I do think you will get a goal, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's Alex Iwobi as well.
Not Neil Mopey.
Nah. He'll get sent off in the first half or something like pretty stupid. I do think we will win the game. I just think we're a better side by quite a wee bit, and I think we're getting better. I would say we were a bit naive last weekend, if I'm honest, but I think we are getting better at that sort of thing, managing games, especially with the end of the game at the end of the season where it's actually 5-1.
I mean, if you look at both teams, I think Begovic was our captain that day.
But you also didn't have Pickford, which you also won't have as well on Sunday.
Not a bit true, but like the team that started that day, I think Dele Alli started. Donny van de Beek was our goal scorer. Like, honestly, that sort of game where it's a dead rubber, you can't even. It's not even that you can talk about it.
Yeah.
Silly to bring it up almost.
Did you say silly? Well, anyway, talking about silly, let's get your prediction.
So childish. I think if this game came too early for Everton in terms of last Saturday, I think that was our best performance. We're now playing 4-3-3. We've now got a striker, and I feel if we had a game at home against a side that, I mean, Everton, obviously, there's no one that you can say, Everton are definitely going to beat them. But if we had a side that you'd consider Everton having a game against at home to get a good win, we'd be going into the Arsenal game with confidence. But I'm confident. I think the way they've set up now, 4-3-3, they're so much better. And it's just whether we can hold Arsenal off, because they've been pretty good, haven't they?
Yeah, we are pretty good.
They've been pretty good.
The first time in quite a while, I'm going to be honest.
I still think our midfield's been so good this year. The centre half partnership's been excellent. I'm going to say we're going to get a draw. I think it's going to be a horrible 1-1 draw. I think we're going to get a goal in the break. It's going to be Anthony Gordon who's going to go like that, some sort of stupid celebration. And Cal's going to be raging, and that'll be that.
I mean, I disagree with you, but it would not surprise me. I'm going to be honest.
It's shaping up to be a very good game either way, and there is multiple outcomes.
You would now think that there's a chance of it being a better game now, the way Everton are set up. They now have better football.
The result last weekend it's made me a wee bit worried, but it's the Emirates thing.
Definitely.
Goodison, I would have genuinely been worried. Right, so
is your transfer window made you more confident of this?
The transfer window, the first game, the finally changing from a back five, all of it's kind of coming together.
Yeah.
And do you think you have had a better transfer window than Arsenal?
No, you can see that their changes and their transfers have made them to be a title challenging side.
Yeah.
But we finished 16th last year, and I'd be disappointed if we didn't finish 10th and above now.
We obviously have just done this was with Aaron. We did our ranking the teams and how their transfer windows went. We actually I think we had Everton above Arsenal. Or did we?
Yeah, we did.
You had Everton very high, which I saw.
I think the
big part is I think that Everton have had a really
I think
good
the fact that
response.
Everton have took the Richarlison money and then strengthened defence, midfield, attack without spending too much money.
Yeah.
Every Everton fan wanted another attacker, but Mapai, I don't know if you saw, ran more than any other player in that game against Liverpool. Clearly, hopefully, will start scoring goals.
They will chip in my goals.
Calvert-Lewin's back training, so
I
hope he can't get injured again. He's so important.
Well, I do think he did a better one than us.
Yeah.
But I think if it was 2 weeks before the transfer window ended and we'd done the ranking, I think we'd have put Arsenal near the top.
If this was the first game of the season, I'd say Arsenal were going to win 3 or 4-0.
Well, yeah, but I just think that Arsenal, the fact they didn't get a midfielder in there for cover with the injury issues that we might have, or do have, I think that's where I put them a wee bit lower, and I do think that Everton's strengthened well. And Pickford's not playing, so that's it.
Well, that was very entertaining, guys. That's been the football fan face-off for Arsenal versus Everton. If you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and go follow our TikTok as well. We're posting a lot on there at the Flat Chat, and we'll see you in the next one.